So, my name's Kayla and this is Renly. Say hi, Mom. Oh, we're getting sleepy. She is 4 weeks old. Oh, 4 weeks old, 1 month yesterday, huh? But I wanted to go ahead and tell my birth story with her. This is probably not going to be that good of a story. I'm not the best storyteller, but I wanted to just go ahead and have it documented so I don't forget. I guess we'll start with the night before. So I was 39 weeks on Saturday. So Friday night, I was Friday, I guess I was kind of having a few contractions, just totally sporadic, and I thought they were contractions, but she's my first baby, so I was not 100% sure. But basically, it was Friday. I got off work about 5:30, and I remember I went to McDonald's and I got a 10-piece nugget meal. I remember I started timing my contractions when I was in the McDonald's drive-thru because I just wanted to see how often they were happening, because they felt like they were coming more regularly when I started close to when I was getting done with work. So I went ahead and started timing them, and I don't remember exactly how close they were. They were definitely like more than 10 minutes apart. They weren't that close. So I just timed them all night. I was uncomfortable, you know, but I've always had really bad period cramps, so I think part of the reason I didn't really pay that close of attention to them was because of that. I didn't think they were maybe as bad as they were. So I kept timing them all Friday night. I tried to go to bed, and I maybe got like 30 minutes, an hour, and I kept waking up every 10 minutes normally. I was just having a lot of pain, and I couldn't really sleep through them. I was just uncomfortable. So I went ahead and I went downstairs, and I figured I didn't want to wake Brandon up. He had to work the next morning at 6 a.m. So I just didn't want to bother him and keep him up all night. So I just went downstairs and figured I'd watch some TV, try to distract myself. So that's what we did, me and my dogs, huh? They went downstairs with me, and we, you know, I just watched TV. They were still coming every like 10 minutes. Some were 7 minutes apart. Sometimes they were like 12 minutes apart. So I didn't think they were that consistent. I was trying to follow like the 5-1-1 rule or whatever they call it, like 5 minutes apart, lasting over 1 minute for 1 hour straight. But mine were just a little sporadic. Like in my app, it would tell me like, oh, it might be time to start packing your bag, might be time to go to the hospital. But I was like, I don't think they're that consistent, and I didn't want to get sent home basically. And I was only 39 weeks that day, and she was my first baby. And I've watched a lot of birth vlogs, and I follow a lot of moms, so I was like, you know, usually your first pregnancy, you go the longest, your labor takes forever, and I just didn't want to get sent home basically. So they just kept coming, you know. I would try to sleep for like the 5-10 minutes I could in between each contraction, and sometimes I would doze off, but I'd wake right back up. But what I kind of thought is I could distract myself for a minute, you know what I mean? Like I knew it was coming, but I could, you know, I knew it was going to end after a minute. And having bad period pain, you know, that just kind of keeps coming and it doesn't stop. So I was like, you know, I can handle a minute of this. It's really not that bad. I mean, it was uncomfortable and it hurt, but it wasn't like intolerable or anything. So basically that morning, Brandon got up to go to work. We had a snowstorm that night, so he went outside, he plowed the driveway, and then he came back in. He said he was going to work, and I told him I was having some contractions, but nothing super regular. So he went ahead and headed to work. Keep in mind, this was at like 5 a.m. But he ended up calling his mom, I guess, and asked her what he should do, and she told him to turn around and come back home. So that's what he did. He called his work and said that he won't, you know, we weren't sure what was going on, so he just wanted to be home. So he stayed home with me. We just kind of hung out. I watched some TV. I'd say about 11:30, 11:45 maybe. I went to the bathroom, and I felt like, okay, TMI, but I was having some bloody show this whole time. Just like a little bit though, like nothing crazy. I mean, some more than others, but I was going to the bathroom, but then, you know, I felt like some liquid come out, and I wasn't doing anything. Like I was just sitting there, and I felt some liquid came out. And then after that, the contractions just started coming like way faster, and they were way closer together, way more intense. And I was like, oh, okay, I should probably go into the hospital now. So then I just went, he was outside snow blowing, and I was like, we should probably go in. And he was like, okay. So his brother lives right up the road, so we just dropped him off real quick. Just dropped him off, and then we went into the hospital. And keep in mind, this is during a snowstorm, so the roads were like still covered with snow and some ice, but it was, so Brandon was like trying to speed into the hospital, but I was like, no, like take your time. I'm not trying to crash or have the baby in the car. So I just said to, what? I was like, so just be careful. So we get to the hospital about 12:25, 12:30. And we just go up to maternity, and I told them I thought I was in labor, and I was in like a lot of pain at this point, and they were like, you know, I think, you know, they think, oh, first time mom, 39 weeks, like she's just being dramatic. So when we're in triage, you know, it takes them forever to come in after I get dressed, and I was so uncomfortable. I couldn't even like lay back in the bed. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to like lift my legs up. It was just, everything hurt. So when the nurse finally came in, she hooked me up to like the monitor so we could hear her heartbeat. She asked me if my water broke. I told her I thought maybe, because I bet that liquid that I felt when I was going to the bathroom, but I wasn't like 100% sure. So she said she'd just do a swab and they would send it to the lab to see if it was amniotic fluid. So she went ahead and swabbed, and it was covered in blood, obviously, because I was having some bleeding. Just like a little bit though, but she said, okay, well, the lab's not going to be able to test this, so I'm just going to check you and see how far along you are. She went ahead and checked, and she was like, oh, you're like a 7 or an 8. And I was like, what? Like, I really didn't think I would be that far along. I mean, at my appointment the Thursday before this Saturday, she said like a 2, almost a 3. But I really didn't think, you know, again, 39 weeks pregnant, first baby. I was like, there's no way I was any more than a 5. I asked her, I was like, oh, does this mean like can I still get the epidural? Because that was like part of my plan. I really wanted the epidural. She was like, well, we need to get a room ready. And so she went ahead, grabbed some other nurses, and they came back like 2 minutes later and took me to a delivery room. And, you know, keep in mind, this pain just kept getting worse and worse. The contractions felt like they were getting closer and closer. And I got up on the bed, like, there was probably like 4 nurses. Like, one was hooking up an IV, one was like asking me all these questions. And it was just like a lot. Like, there were so many people around me, and I just felt like I like needed a second to breathe, like to process what was actually going on. Because at that point they told me it was too late for the epidural. Like, I was just gonna have to do this naturally. And like, I'm a wimp. Like, I was like, I can't do it without one. Like, there's no way. And they were like, you can do this, you got this. And they were really supportive, and they were really great, honestly. But I was just like freaked out. I'm like, no, I like need the epidural. I can't do this without one. This part all happened so fast. I don't even know the timeline. But at some point I told him, I was like, I feel like I need to push. Like, my body was like naturally doing it, and I didn't even like, honestly, I was scared. I didn't want to push because I was like, I know this is gonna hurt, and I don't want to do this with all the pain and without the epidural. And they were like, okay, well, they were like, okay, well, then push, you need to push. And I mean, like, meanwhile, in my head, I'm like, I was a 7 or 8, like 5-10 minutes ago. Like, how am I, you know, I've watched all these birth vlogs and all these videos and stories about people, and it takes forever to dilate. And I'm like, so I was just like totally surprised that it was like time to push, time to go in that short a span. And it was just like surreal, honestly. So it only took like 10 minutes of pushing, the nurse told me, because I even asked her, I'm like, how long was I pushing? Because I had like no recollection of time. Like, it all was just like, it felt like it all happened so fast, but it really did happen fast, because I got to the hospital about like 12:30, and at 1:11 she was born. She was 7 pounds 14 ounces. She was 21 inches long, and our little Renly Joe was born. And I just, honestly, I was in shock. I couldn't believe that, 1, I had a baby without an epidural. 2, she was here. It happened so fast. I was, you know, I was 39 weeks. Like, I keep saying that, but really I was like, there's no way this is gonna, I thought I was gonna get sent home. That's why I didn't go into the hospital. She was born, and they were like, this is the way to do it, you know, labor at home and just come in and have the baby. And I was just amazed that it went so fast. Everything went so smooth. I am so lucky to have this healthy baby girl, and she like latched right away, and we honestly, it was like an amazing experience. I just can't believe that she's here and she's mine, and that everything really went so well, because I had, you know, I had a great pregnancy. I wasn't sick in the beginning, and I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just saying, like, truly, I don't think it could have went better, because I wasn't sick. Like, I had, you know, the aches and pains that you have, but it wasn't intolerable. Like, I would definitely do it again, especially for her. And it just honestly is amazing. And now she's already been here for 4 weeks with me, and it's just so surreal. You know, I've always wanted to be a mom, and now I have her here in my arms, and she's home with us, and we're figuring things out together. Breastfeeding was really hard in the beginning, but I think we finally got the hang of it. But honestly, I couldn't ask for a better experience, and I just wanted to be sure that I talked about this and have it on video, because I don't ever want to forget any part of what happened. I appreciate you watching. If you did, thank you for listening. Say thanks for watching. All right, I'm gonna go lay her down for a nap.